Good morning, friends on Facebook. Hope that this morning finds you well. Good morning to our friends on Instagram. Thank you for joining us. It is Monday, the 13th of August. Sorry, on Insta, you get to see the split system above my head. Welcome to another week. And welcome to Mindset Mastery Monday. Hey, Christine, lovely to have your company. Thanks for joining me. You interested in finding out my most embarrassing experience ever, how I stuffed up on stage in front of 600 plus people and what it taught me? That's really what I'm going to be sharing today. Today's message is really for those of you, any of you who are afraid to fail. Hi, Sam. Afraid to fail, scared of stuffing up, worried about what people think of you, and yet all your potential is inside and you really want to achieve the success that you desire. Good morning, Elise. Good morning, Rebecca Jane. Keen interest in this topic this morning, so it's great to have your company. You may have heard that most people would actually rather be in the coffin than deliver the eulogy. Give me a thumbs up if you've ever heard that before. Good morning, Paul. Thanks for joining. Have you ever heard that people would rather be dead than speak at the funeral? Just a show of thumbs. Hi, Jag, lovely to have your company too. Yeah, Rebecca's like thumbs up. Well, you know, I've been there, done that. I literally stuffed up in front of 600 people and it was horrifying, yet taught me a lot. Yeah, Sam, you too. Thanks so much for letting me know. How about you, Christine? So I want to just get straight into the story and listen for the lessons and just listen for yourself. Rebecca's like, shit. Yeah, here we go. So I think it was around circa 2006. A friend of mine, Jean Blackley, called me and said, hey, Tanj, I've got an opportunity for you. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And he says, well, a friend of mine owns a property investment company and they do amazing events. And for the last 5 years, I've spoken at it. And hey, PK, lovely to have your company too. For the last 5 years I've spoken at it, I've emceed it. You know, it's a great event. I'm going overseas this year. I can't do it. And I think you'd be great. And I'm like, okay, well, thanks for thinking of that. How many people? And he said, about 600 plus. Now that was my first wave of anxiety because I'd only really started emceeing and I think the largest group, I'm okay with public speaking. Good on you, Christine. Well, listen to this horrendous story. And the most amount of people that I've been speaking, you know, with and to and for was around 120. So this was a huge leap for me. This was a really big leap. And he said, look, I wouldn't put you forward if I didn't think you were going to be able to do it. I've spoken to Jason. I've told him about you and he's fine with it. He's looking forward to meeting you. So I'm going to connect you to the team and they'll set you up. I really do believe that, you know, it's good to take a risk. You know, Richard Branson says, say yes and figure it out later, or jump and the net will appear. Absolutely believe that philosophy. And as a coach, I encourage my clients to do the same. However, there's fake it till you make it, not fake it till you break it. And you'll see why a little later. So there was a couple of weeks leading up. I was a bit nervous, but I just thought, right, I've said yes, I'm going to do this. Now, I'd been in communication with the client's company. The client, Jason, was overseas and couldn't contact him. And, you know, they said there's going to be about 8+ speakers. Morning, Simone or Simon. Thank you so much for joining. There's going to be about 8+ speakers for you to introduce, and your job is to keep the energy high, keep the event alive, keep the segues happening, introduce the speakers, wrap up the lessons, and just make it a great event. I'm like, okay. And I was waiting on the bios of all the speakers to come through so I could really research them and powerfully prepare, and they weren't coming. So that was amplifying my anxiety. Hey, good morning. Lovely to have your company. And so I just went online and started researching the speakers myself. I did get one great bio from Matt Church's team. So give me a thumbs up if you know Matt Church. He's the CEO and founder of Thought Leaders and ranked one of the world's best speakers, certainly one of Australia's top speakers. So that was the first person I was to introduce. Paul's giving me a thumbs up. He's an amazing guy. But can you imagine me? This is a stretch. I've never spoken in front of 600 people. And the very first person I'm going to introduce is one of the best speakers on the planet. So add a little bit more attention to the situation. So I go buy myself a new outfit because I thought, you know, looking good was really important. And I bought a couple of outfits and I prepared as best as I could. Now it's 11:30 the night before, on a Thursday night, the night before the Friday. So the event was Friday night, all day Saturday and all day Sunday. I get a phone call from Jason, the client. He's like, "Hi, Tanj, really great that you could do this for us. Really looking forward to seeing you." We had a bit of banter, a bit of a chat. And then he said before he signed off, "By the way, I don't want any notes on stage. I don't want you having any notes at all." And it was like a truck hit me. I was like, but here's lesson number one. Stand in your truth to deliver what you've said you're going to do, because it was not my truth to get up on stage without notes and powerfully introduce 8 amazing speakers and keep it all together. Morning, Jessica. Thanks for joining us. But I did not love myself enough and I was too scared to honor my truth and I didn't say anything and I agreed. Like, first big mistake. I agreed to MC this gig with no notes. Massive epic fail right there, and you'll see why. Then oh god, no notes, Christine's writing, you bet. So I'm like, far out. So I cram as much memorizing of bios in order as possible. I was allowed to run sheet, but no notes on anyone. And Matt Church was quite particular about how he should be introduced, and yeah, Kevin Hills, morning Kev, long time no see. So let's get to the event, right? So I drive, it's at the Hotel Sofitel in Melbourne. I've definitely got butterflies. I'm quite nervous, and but I'm trying to keep composed. I get to the main ballroom that the event is at. Can't believe he asked you to do that. Yeah, but listen, Simon, can't believe I said yes. Why did I say yes when my truth was like, hang on? So I just didn't own my power, but yeah, I agree. You know why actually he asked me that? Gene, who had done it before, was seasoned. He'd done it for 5 years. So if you're going to follow in the footsteps of greatness, don't pretend you're as great as somebody else. Like, you know, as I said, take a risk, but be responsible for your own limitations or opportunities to develop. So it was my responsibility for sure, because I could have said, listen, mate, with all due respect, you know, I've never done this event before. I want to do a great job for you as the client. So a few notes, I'll keep it discreet, would just make a big difference. Anyway, big lesson there. So imagine, right, it's the morning of, I get there early. There's these huge mahogany doors that I push open and I see this massive stage all lit up. There's 600 chairs, which felt like 6,000 to me back then. There's 40 crew in there, bright orange T-shirts and caps. There's a film crew and they're doing sound check. So the noise is going off and, you know, they're testing the music and it's pumping. And it's got the vibe of a Tony Robbins event, right? Thumbs up if you know what I'm talking about with the Tony Robbins energy. So I go over to the production table, the client's there, we get introduced. Matt Church comes straight up to me, shakes my hand and says, "Hi, I'm Matt. I hear you're Tangerine. You're the MC for the weekend. You're going to keep it all together and do a great job." Thanks, Simon. I'm like, yes, I am, right? Fake it till you make it. Don't fake it till you break it. I definitely broke it. Hey, Faith, lovely to have your company. So, we get to the production table. I'm kind of just meeting the team, and I thought Matt and I having some banter, and he's telling me about his business. I mentioned that I'd written a book, and he's like, "Oh, let's swap cards," and he starts to drink a Red Bull. And I wasn't drinking coffee, and thanks for the hearts, Faith. I needed the hearts at this time, and I didn't drink coffee, and I didn't drink Red Bull or anything. He goes, "Yeah, do you want one?" And again, lesson number 2, trust your intuition. Now, I don't drink Red Bull, but I was just trying to be chummy with Matt Church and, you know, be his mate and he be mine and do what he was doing. And like, can you see how little self-awareness I had at the time? And I said, okay. But my intuition said no. So I had this Red Bull. Now consider, have you ever had a coffee rush or an adrenaline rush where it takes you really out of your body? So that happened. So always trust your intuition and don't drink Red Bull or V or coffee if that's not your flavor. Definitely wasn't mine. I needed to be calm and centered, not having wings and flying on Red Bull. So lesson number 2. They said, let's go and do a sound check. Now, I told you I went and bought a new outfit because I thought looking good would be important on stage in front of that many people. But stupid me didn't think through the logistics of the outfit. I bought this really nice, stylish pin style skirt and this beautiful white blouse. But I didn't realize the steps. I didn't think through steps on the stage and this long stage, and I would need to really move around. I was walking around like Morticia, right? Like shuffling. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, so lesson number 3, don't let style get in the way of service. Don't let looking good be more important than delivering great content and being a contribution. Thrill Estate joined. Good morning, Thrill Estate. What a fabulous name. So I try to compose myself as much as possible. They give me about 15 minutes heads up before they're going to let these 600 plus people in. So I'm side of stage. I've got the run sheet. I've memorized as much as I can. And we're pressing the go button. Remember, 40 crew. Greetings from Tuscan. Oh, how beautiful. That's such a nice for you to join us. So imagine now, they open the big mahogany doors, and I said it was like a Tony Robbins concert. They ran with their show bags, Arizona, Tucson, Arizona. I'm probably not saying it right, but hey, thanks for joining us. I'm here in Melbourne, Australia. How's the weather in Arizona? So imagine the big mahogany doors open. The music is pumping. It's a rock concert. 600 people run to fill up the front, not like your usual event, right? They got their show bags. The energy is through the roof. My Red Bull is kicking in. I am flying. I don't even drink the stuff. And Matt's like pumped. The client's hugging everyone. And then it's time. So then I'm side of stage in my silly outfit that was too tight to walk upstairs. And I get up, shuffle, and I get to the center of the stage, and these lights are on me, and there's 40 crew and 600 people, energies through the roof, film crew, and I say good morning, and I'm projecting my energy. I'm doing all the right things. I say welcome, thank you so much for being here. I talk about the name of the event, and within 30 seconds I go blank. Like, insert the sound of crickets here. I completely lose where I am, and the energy that was like volcanic just crashed and burned. And then I thought this was going to be the perfect time to all of a sudden become a stand-up comedian and try to find some segue of the Australian Open, which was on at the same time. And I try to be funny, which is like lesson number 5 or 4. Like, be authentic. Don't try to be funny, especially when you're stuffing up. So if you can imagine, this has been in the making for months. My job is to keep the energy high. These people have run to the front. They've paid good money to be there. And I crash and burn this journey within 30 seconds of the MC, as the MC. I try to recover by becoming a stand-up comedian. What the hell was I thinking? And that failed. So the crash landing kind of started, like an earthquake occurred, and everything was falling in the center of the earth, and I couldn't recover. So I look to the client who's in the back of the room. Everyone's just looking around going, what the? At Starbucks, we'll finish watching later. Thanks, Thrill Estate. Please join in. Enjoy your coffee. Have a nice one for us, but no Red Bull. And I say to Jason, this is the client, right? I'm sorry, I've completely gone blank. I'm going to need you to take over. Everyone's like, what the hell? So Jason walks down the center. I walk off like Morticia down the stairs. Matt Church walks towards me, and I grab his hands and I say, Matt, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. And he just looked at me like the champion he is, and he says, Tanja, this is a defining moment. And I'm like smiling and grinning whilst everyone's just looking at me, and Jason gets up to recover his event, and I sit down. I'm like, I don't know what the hell Matt just means with defining moment. I want to get my stuff and get the hell out of here. And this is what started to happen. Jason, the client, gets up, he's recovering, he's bringing everyone back up, and he then introduces Matt Church, one of the world's best speakers, up on stage. I'm at the production table, the MC who's responsible for keeping this together all weekend, who just crashed this amazing plane. And I then felt my mind was in a boxing ring, and the heavyweight was my ego, or as I call my Shigo, going, Tanja, get your stuff, get your bag, get your gear, and get the hell out of here. They won't even miss you. They won't even care. It doesn't matter. Just go. And then my soul, my lightweight, light feather or featherweight individual on this side of the ring was like, no, you said yes. You said you would do this. Get your focus off yourself and how horrendous that was. Listen to Matt, listen for a segue, and get up there and recover. This battle went on for a good 10 minutes, and every cell in my body wanted to get up and go. I honestly thought they wouldn't care. I actually thought they'd be better off without me. So lesson number 4 actually is be courageous, because the ego is a coward. The ego is going to want to sabotage you taking a risk. I mean, Faith, if you're still watching, Faith just, practiced cheerleading competition yesterday and over the weekend. It takes something to put yourself out there. It takes something to stand up and speak in front of people, or lead, or call an auction if you've never done that before. And you definitely want to put yourself in situations to take a risk, but be responsible for your skill set and your limitations at the time. So this battle went on in my mind, and I chose not to honor the coward. I chose to be courageous. It took everything in my being to do that. I chose to switch my focus onto listening to Matt, who had everyone back up high, not as high as they were when they first got in. And I thought, right, listen for a segue, listen for something that you can grab, that you can lead into opening the next phase of the Friday evening. So I could hear Matt's wrapping up. So my adrenaline and nerves are going through the roof at this time. And I then start walking to the stage, and you can feel him wrapping up and people loving him. And then I get in my silly outfit, I'm going up on stage as he walks off, and all this energy that he's brought up has gone to kind of like a little sus, a little suspicious. What's this chick going to do now? And I just stood in the center, and I took a moment just to look out to everybody. And about 3 rows from the front was this guy in cream. He looked like an absolute angel. My knees were shaking. And I just looked at him, and he looked at me, and he went like this, "You can do it," saying to me, "You can do it. You can do it." So lesson number 6, angels exist. There are actually people that want you to win. Most people, if you're speaking, people want you to win. They don't want you to crash and burn. So look for the angels in the room next time you're calling an auction or speaking or even doing a listing consultation. Have the definition that the vendors you're about to speak with are angels. They want you to win. I took a breath, and I made my segue, and I got back on with the job. I was a bit wobbly. I wasn't amazing. The energy wasn't great. It was better than a crash landing. But I went past my cowardness and stood in courage and got on with the job. Fast forward through the weekend, I just delivered as best as I could. Got in the car that night, bawled my eyes out, went home. Great, yeah, it's awesome. Thanks, Rebecca. Got home, had a big cry, went, right, let's get this done. And the next day I was just on. I just knew this would not happen again. The worst thing other than my clothes falling off on stage has already happened, so I don't need to worry about that anymore. So the next day, I did a great job. And on the final day, I was standing at the big mahogany doors as everybody was leaving, and we were hugging and saying goodbye. And people were going, who was that girl on Friday night? And you're a completely different woman. I'm like, I know. So there was a lot of compassion in the room. And then as I was saying goodbye to people, the angel appeared. And he looked at me and I looked at him. We didn't say a word. We just held each other and hugged, both shed a tear, and he disappeared. And I stood there saying goodbye to everybody else. I didn't die. I felt like dying. It was hugely embarrassing, yet it taught me a lot of lessons. It taught me to take a risk, but be responsible for where your skill sets are and then be prepared. It taught me to stand for what's true, to deliver great service, and don't just agree to make people happy and fake it till you make it, because you might fake it till you break it, like I did. It taught me to really trust my intuition and don't try to fit in and do what other people do and be like other people. Be authentically and uniquely you and honor your truth, because whenever you don't trust your intuition, it will be a crash landing. It taught me not to let style get in the way of service. Don't let looking good impact your ability to make a difference and be a contribution to others, because then your focus is on yourself, not on the people that you're serving. It taught me to quiet the coward and be courageous. As painful as the situation was, stand for what you said yes to and keep going to keep growing. And definitely I grew. And it taught me that angels exist. People don't want you to fail. People actually want you to win. And if you have that distinction, especially when you speak in front of people, it makes a massive difference. Whilst it was horrendous, it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life, because I can literally be with anything now in front of people. I'm very, very comfortable speaking. And I'm sure it's because I've done what most people would consider their worst nightmare. So I'd love to hear from you. Did you hear something for yourself in me sharing those 5 or 6 lessons from my most embarrassing story ever? And what could you apply? Have you let looking good or style get in the way of being of service? Have you ever not trusted your intuition? Have you taken a risk, but really, instead of fake it till you make it, you faked it till you broke it, and then you got really hard on yourself and you said, never do that again? Have you let your coward win rather than be courageous and go for that which you desire? I hope that me sharing my most embarrassing story elicits an interest in you or inspires you to go beyond your fear and trust that angels exist. And if you're wanting to be great at something, then obviously just get the skills to do what is required. Don't do what I did and fail a number of times by not honoring my truth, not following my intuition, letting style get in the way of service, and yet do take that final tip of mine, and don't let your coward win. Let your courage shine through, because if greatness is here and vulnerability is the doorway to greatness, as Dr. Brené Brown would say, then courage is the doorknob. I hope that you have a beautiful, courageous, brave, wholehearted day where you see angels everywhere today, and have an amazing week. I hope this was of service. Please let me know and tag someone who you think would appreciate this message. Have a beautiful day. Much love. And remember, if you have any questions around how to master your mindset in the face of life and navigating this thing, being human and figuring it out along the way, please DM me on Insta, or certainly DM me on Facebook, and let me know if there's any way I can be of service. I will give my best A's to your Q's and keep them completely confidential. Thanks. Lara Richardson's just joined from Perth. Hey, Lara, this is early. We're signing off, so feel free to watch the recording. Much love. Thanks for your love, Rebecca. Hope you have a beautiful day, everyone. Take care. And bye, Facebook.